Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. Today, we'll do MLB, soccer, golf, NFL quarterback rankings, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start with MLB. We'll go over the results from yesterday, look ahead to today's games. Nats over the O's 9-3, Guardians over the Cubs 2-1, Marlins over the Phillies 5-0, Tigers over the Mariners 15-1, Reds over the Cardinals 4-1, Astros over the Rays 3-2, A's over the Mets 9-4, Red Sox over the Rangers 9-4, Twins over the Royals 13-3, Yankees over the White Sox 4-1, courtesy of 3 Juan Soto home runs. Dodgers over the Brewers 7-2, Jays over the Angels 6-1, D-backs over the Rockies 4-3, Padres over the Pirates 3-0, and the Braves over the Giants 4-3. All right, we have some matinee games today. 1 o'clock MLB Network, Royals Twins, Cole Ragans and Louis Varland. If the Royals aren't favored here, then that's insane. Because Louis Varland stinks and Cole Ragans is way better. Oh my God, the Twins are favored. They're minus 110. The Royals are minus 106. Over under 8. Overs minus 118. Unders minus 104. Royals minus 1.5 plus 152. Twins plus 1.5 minus 184. I'm going back to the Kansas City minus 106. I don't get this Twins thing. I know they're playing good, but they shouldn't be favored over Cole Ragans. 3:30 Rockies D-backs. Tanner Gordon and Jordan Montgomery. D-backs minus 10, Rockies plus 176, over under 9.5, overs plus 102, unders minus 124. Rockies plus 1.5 is minus 20, D-backs minus 1.5 is even money, over plus money. 4 o'clock, Pirates, Padres. Mitch Keller and Martin Perez. Padres minus 142, Pirates plus 120, over under 8.5, overs plus 102, unders minus 124. Pirates plus 1.5 is minus 178, Padres minus 1.5 plus 146. This Pirates losing streak has to end at some point. They've lost a ton of games in a row. They haven't won since August 3rd. They're due. I'm taking them plus 120 with Mitch Keller on the bump. 6 o'clock, Rangers, Red Sox from Fenway. TBD and Tanner Houck. Boston is minus 144. Texas. Dane Dunning looks like he's starting for Texas. Plus 122 over under 9. Overs even money. Unders minus 122. Texas plus 1.5 is minus 164. Red Sox minus 1.5 plus 136. I like the over at even money. Nats O's at 6:30. DJ Hers and Dean Kremer. O's minus 172. Nats plus 144 over under 8.5. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. Nats plus 1.5 is minus 140. O's minus 1.5 plus 116. That's a hard one, but I'm going to lay the run line with the O's, although taking the Nats here is intriguing. Cubs, Guardians. Jamison Tyon and Alex Cobb. Guardians minus 138, Cubs plus 118, over under 8.5, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Cubs plus 1.5 is minus 192, Guardians minus 1.5 plus 158. And going back to the I'm taking the Chicago Cubs plus 118. Back to the seems like the theme of the podcast so far. Marlins, Phillies, Edward Cabrera, Tyler Phillips. Phillies minus 190, Marlins plus 160, over under 9, overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Marlins plus 1.5 is minus 137. Phillies minus 1.5 plus 114. I like the under in that one. We're going to go with an under in a Phillies game, but kind of like the under. M's Tigers, Brian Wu and Bayo Brisky. Mariners minus 142. Tigers plus 120, over under 8. Overs minus 112. Unders minus 108. Mariners minus 1.5 plus 116. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 140. I like the under. Cardinals, Reds. Kyle Gibson and Emilio Pagan. I guess the Reds are going with an opener. Cards minus 118. Reds even money over under 9.5. Overs minus weight. Others minus 112. Cardinals minus 1.5 plus 140. Reds plus 1.5 minus 170. I'm going to go with the Cardinals minus 118. They get the win there. 650 Astros Rays. Ronel Blanco and Zach Little. Astros minus 126. Rays plus 108. Over under 8. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Astros minus 1.5 plus 136. Rays plus 1.5 minus 164. I like the under because I like Ronel Blanco. 7 o'clock, A's Mets. Joey Estes and David Peterson. Mets minus 174. A's plus 146. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. A's plus 1.5 is minus 42. Mets minus 1.5 plus 118. I like the over. This is a bet given out based on, I think, the Met offense will bounce back. 8 o'clock, MLB Network. Yankees, White Sox, Will Warren and Davis Martin. Yanks minus 250. White Sox plus 205. Over under 9.5. Overs even money. Others minus 122. White Sox plus 1.5 is plus 126. Yanks minus 1.5 minus 152. I'm going to go with the over at even money. Will Warren was terrible in his last start. That was against the Angels in the doubleheader. He's pitching again here because they had 2 doubleheaders recently. And Davis Martin's not much better. Dodgers Brewers also MLB Network. Walker Buehler and Frankie Montas. Dodgers minus 120. Brewers plus 102. Over under 9. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Dodgers minus 1.5 plus 130. Brewers plus 1.5 is minus 156. Like the over. 9:30. Blue Jays Angels. Jose Barrios and Tyler Anderson. Pick a minus 1 each way. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 124. Unders plus 102. Jays minus 1.5 plus 142. Angels plus 1.5 minus 172. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays minus 108. And 9:45. Braves Giants. Grant Holmes, Robbie Ray. Giants minus 102. Braves even money. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. Braves minus 1.5 plus 168. Giants plus 1.5 minus 205. That's a tough one. But I'm going to do something out of the box. Over 8.5 runs plus 116. All right, now I'm going to move on to soccer. We're going to go over the results from yesterday of note and look ahead to everything today. With Leagues Cup, to go over from yesterday, there's a lot of that. And we know we did all that yesterday. So Leagues Cup, Columbus over Miami 3-2. How about this? The Union upset Cincinnati 4-2. Cruz Azul Mazatlan 2-2 draw. Mazatlan advances 3-1 in penalties. NYCFC over Tigres 2-1. Colorado over Toluca 2-1. America over St. Louis 4-2. And LAFC over San Jose 4-1. Carabao Cup, there's a lot to talk about there as well. Blackburn over Stockport 6-1. Leyton Orient over Newport 4-1. Stoke over Carlisle 2-0. Bolton Mansfield 1-1 draw. Bolton advances 5-4 on penalties. Watford over MK Dons 5-0. Walsall Exeter 1-1 draw. Walsall advances 4-3 on penalties. Tranmere over Accrington 3-0. Swansea over Gillingham 3-1. Shrewsbury Notts County 3-3 draw. Shrewsbury advances 4-3 on penalties. Doncaster over Salford City 2-0. Rotherham over Crewe 2-1. Preston over Sunderland 2-0. Millwall over Portsmouth 1-0. Oxford over Peterborough 2-0. North City over Stevenage 4-3. Wycombe over Northampton 2-0. Harrogate over Lincoln City 2-1. Huddersfield over Morecambe 3-0. Grimsby Town, Bradford 1-1 draw, but Grimsby Town advances 9-8 on penalties. Fleetwood Town over West Brom 2-1. Derby over Chesterfield 2-1. Crawley Town over Swindon Town 4-2, so best bet hits. Colchester Reading 2-2 draw. Colchester advances 4-3 on penalties. Birmingham over Charlton 1-0. Cardiff over Bristol Rivers 2-0. QPR over Cambridge 2-1. Blackpool over Burton Albion 4-0. Wimbledon over Bromley 2-1. Coventry over Bristol City 1-0. Wigan Barnsley 1-1 draw. Barnsley advances 4-2 on penalties. Barrow over Port Vale 3-2. Sheffield United over Wrexham 4-2. Only 3 games for the first round today. 2:45 you have Plymouth and Cheltenham. So I'm just going to pull those up really quickly. I accidentally pulled up Leagues Cup. All right, so Plymouth minus 280, Cheltenham 6-1. The draw's plus 370. For this one, we're gonna go with over 3.5 goals plus 132. Hull Sheffield Wednesday. Hull plus 110, Sheffield plus 210, draw plus 230 or plus 220. Sheffield's playing good. I get it. But I'm going to go draw plus 220. And 3 o'clock Leeds Borough. Leeds minus 240, Middlesbrough 5-1. The draw's plus 360. For this one, we are going to go over 3.5 goals at minus 102. I mean, Europa League qualifying, Pettora, Hinchesty, New Saints, 0-0 draw, but Petrukub advances 1-0 on aggregate. Conference League qualifying, BK Hacken and Paid Women's God 1-1 draw, but BK Hacken advances 7-2 on aggregate. Paskey SC, Mornar 2-2 draw. Paskey advances 5-2 on aggregate. We had a friendly Bayern over WSG Swarovski 3-0. That was played in Germany. UEFA Super Cup today. Real Madrid and Atalanta. That is at 3 o'clock. Real Madrid minus 20, Atalanta 5-1, draws plus 350. Real Madrid should win. But I'm going to go under 2.5 goals at plus 124. All right, now move on to golf. The next tournament up is the FedEx St. Jude. It begins tomorrow. It's from TPC Southwind. That is in Tennessee, in Memphis. So tee times 8:20 Justin Rose, Ben Griffin, 8:30 Jake Knappel, Zalatoris, 8:40 Max Grieserman, Mackenzie Hughes, 8:50 Tom Kim, Chad Davis, or Cam Davis. I was thinking Sean Kim because I saw C and then Kim. 9 o'clock Austin Eckroad, Alex the Wren, 9:10 SW Kim, Adam Hadwin, 9:20 Stefan Yeager, Thomas Dietrich, 9:30 Tommy Fleetwood and Cam Young. 9:40, Chris Kirk, Taylor Pendrith, 9:55, Brett Horschel and Davis Thompson, 10:05, Justin Thomas, Brian Harmon, 10:15, Ashke Bahita, Matthew Pavon, 10:25, Sunjay and Shane Lowry, 10:35, Ludwig Oberg and Wyndham Clark, 10:45, Colin Morikawa, Rory McIlroy, 10:55, Peter Malnati, Min-Woo Lee, 11:05, Seamus Power, Brendan Todd, 11:15, Jonathan Vegas and Nick Dunlap, 11:30, Victor Hovland and Evan Van Rooyen, 11:40, Eric Cole, Patrick Rogers. 11:50, Nate Taylor, Harry English. At noon, Denny McCarthy and Adam Scott. 12:10, Keegan Bradley, Matt Fitzpatrick. 12:20, JT Potson, Max Homa, 12:30, Sam Birds, Corey Connors. 12:40, Aaron Ray, Jason Day. 12:50, Taylor Ho, Christian Ziedenhout. 1:05, Robert McIntyre and Sepp Straka. 1:15, Ryan Henley and Tony Finau. 1:25, Peter Cantlay and B.H. on. 1:35, Hideki Matsuyama and C. Figlia. 1:45, how about this? Xander Schauffele and Scotty Scheffler. 1:55, Taylor Moore and Matt McNeely. 2:05, Jordan Spieth, Mark Hubbard. 2:15, Victor Perez, Emiliano Grillo. So, stacked tournament today, or this weekend coming up. Stacked. So, last year, Lucas Glover won. The year before, it was Will Zalatoris. In 21, it was Finau in a playoff over Cam Smith. COVID was DJ. 19, can't find the 19, and so 18 was DJ too. So DJ owned this tournament. Those two just merged, as I said on one of those summer podcasts. So I do have a name in mind. It's a long shot because you have all the big guns in there, and Scotty and Xander and Rory and Colin. 80-1 is Sepp Straka. Why not? I'm going to bet $1 on it and see what happens. He came in second in this event a couple years ago, so why not? I like going with these long shots anyway. All right, quarterback rankings for the season. Can't believe it. The time has finally come. So I made a mistake on the show. Yesterday I said the quarterback rankings were going to be tomorrow, Thursday, which that was a mistake. Running back rankings are going to be tomorrow, wide receiver Friday, and then tight end will be Monday, and then offensive linemen will be Tuesday through Thursday of next week, and then defensive tackles are going to be on Friday. So, or might be defensive ends. So, without further ado, my 2024 NFL quarterback rankings. 32, Bo Nix, Broncos. 31, Jaden Daniels, Commanders. 30, Caleb Williams, Bears. 29, Sam Darnold, Vikings. 28, Jacoby Brissett, Patriots. 27, Gardner Minshew, Raiders. 26, Will Levis, Titans. 25, Daniel Jones, Giants. 24, Derek Carr, Saints. 23, Russell Wilson, Steelers. 22, Anthony Richardson, Colts. 21, Bryce Young, Panthers. 20, Baker Mayfield, Buccaneers. 19, Geno Smith, Seahawks. 18, Deshaun Watson, Browns. 17, Kyler Murray, Cardinals. 16, Tua Tagovailoa, Dolphins. 15, Brock Purdy, 49ers. 14, Jared Goff, Lions. 13, Kirk Cousins, Falcons. 12, Aaron Rodgers, Jets. 11, Trevor Lawrence, Jaguars. 10, Dak Prescott, Cowboys. 9, Jordan Love, Packers. 8, Justin Herbert, Chargers. 7, Matthew Stafford, Rams. 6, Jalen Hurts, Eagles. 5, C.J. Stroud, Texans. 4, Josh Allen, Bills. 3, Lamar Jackson, Ravens. 2, Joe Burrow, Bengals. Number 1, if there wasn't any doubt, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, this was a little bit of a tougher list to put together this year because there's a lot of guys coming off injuries, and there's a lot of guys that are coming off disappointing years or even career years without really knowing where to place them. So Mahomes deserves the first spot until further notice. He's just the GOAT. He's this generation's Tom Brady right now. And there's a chance that Pat becomes Probably one of the best 3 quarterbacks of all time. I don't think he'll pass Tom because Mahomes is making so much more money than Tom did, and that team in New England and the Tampa team were able to put the pieces around him properly. Not that the Chiefs haven't done that, but Tyreek Hill is probably the best Ewing theory out there right now. But when will that loss hurt them is my question. Super duper long term. And Travis Kelce's not getting any younger. So that's Mahomes versus Brady GOAT thing, but that's why I would pick Brady, because I'm not sure about long term for the Chiefs with the Mahomes talent around them. So people are going to think I'm nuts for putting Joe Burrow second. I just think he's the second best quarterback in football when he's healthy. And I think he's going to have a big season this year. And I have him over Lamar Jackson, as that Joe Burrow was a drive away from winning a Super Bowl. And Lamar Jackson hasn't made a Super Bowl yet. Granted, he made the AFC title game for the first time in his career last year, but couldn't get it done. Josh Allen, still top 5 quarterback in my opinion. CJ Stroud I picked as the 5 spot. It was between him and a couple of others. You could argue Jalen Hurts. You could argue Stafford. But Stroud just showed so much potential last season. And I think his ceiling is super duper high. Jalen Hurts, I think people forget that he was a drive away from a Super Bowl as well. And people are just judging him because him and Nick Sirianni were butting heads last season and the Eagles fell apart. But they really fell apart because of their defense, not really because of Jalen Hurts. Well, it was both, but I think it was more because of their defense. That's my opinion. That's not Jalen Hurts' fault. Stafford, fantastic season, but there's injury questions with him. Herbert, new coach, so you expect him to be better. Jordan Love I have in the top 10. I think he showed so much potential in those playoff games last season. Dak was awesome outside of that playoff game last season. Contract year. Trevor Lawrence, that team fell apart too last season. And you could argue he's being overlooked. Aaron Rodgers obviously coming off a big injury. Same with Kirk Cousins. I had to put them next to each other. Jared Goff, awesome last season. But I have questions about how he could perform outdoors. But apparently 13 to 17 of his games coming up are inside, which is crazy. Brock Purdy, that was one of the toughest quarterbacks to place. Tua just needs to prove to be healthy to me. Same for Kyler. And same for Deshaun. Geno and Baker are kind of in that same boat. I mean, Geno was more a career year 2 years ago. He regressed last season, but I think he's a sort of a bounce-back candidate for this year. Baker Mayfield, I have there with Geno because I just am not sure if he's a top 15 quarterback. He could be this year's Daniel Jones, and the Bucs could be 5-12, and Todd Bowles can go from Coach of the Year candidate to fired. I think that's on the table. Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson I put together because Richardson's coming off an injury and Bryce Young was just in a bad situation last season. And I think those two have higher ceilings than those 3 veterans in Wilson, Carr, and Jones, whose contracts, Russell in Denver's case, not in Pittsburgh's case, sunk their teams. But I do think that the Steelers' ceiling would be higher with Justin Fields, personally. Then Levis just had the one shiny moment against the Dolphins last year, and everyone got excited To me, he's Daniel Jones. And then I'd put the three veteran starters that are really backups all together, and then the three rookies. So I pretty much put them in tiers. That's how I did the quarterback rankings this year. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited for football, of course. All right, the news and notes. So the first thing I want to start off with today, Rangers play-by-play announcer Sam Rosen will be retiring after the season. Congrats to Sam Rosen, fabulous career. Called so many great moments in New York Rangers history. I'm going to talk about this with Doug Saravo tomorrow. He's going to come on the show as a guest. And we are going to talk a little bit about this because this is a big deal in hockey and in New York sports. One of the best announcers in New York sports history. He got to call the famous 1994 Stanley Cup because back in the day, and I believe 1994 was the last season you were able to have your own TV and broadcasters for every round of the playoffs. So Sam Rosen's very fortunate that he got to do that and have that moment. He'll be known for his signature call. It's a power play goal. He has great enthusiasm. And now the question is for the 2025-6 season and beyond, for the Rangers, for their play-by-play, who's it going to be? I think it should be Kenny Albert. Kenny Albert's the radio announcer. He is a big name. And you know James Dolan always wants big names, big star announcers. There's a reason Mike Breen is the voice of the Knicks. Granted, he was the voice of the Knicks before he was the voice of the NBA Finals. But you know Dolan's thinking that route. So, of course, he wants to pick promote Kenny Albert. And then, from a radio side, if Kenny Albert is to replace Sam Rosen after the season, Don LaGreca should be promoted to the full-time Rangers radio play-by-play, which would be amazing. Because then the Michael K. show would be the voice of the Yankees and the radio voice of the Rangers. And that would be really, really cool. So for selfish reasons, I'm rooting for Kenny Albert to replace Sam Rosen next season and for Don LaGreca to get promoted. But leave that up to MSG. There's other candidates for sure. Brendan Burke, I think, is a possible candidate from the Islanders. Howie Rose was thrown out there a couple years ago after it was speculated that Sam was going to retire. I think that some other possibilities that people aren't thinking of are sitting there, like from other teams. I know I brought up Brendan Burke and Howie Rose from the Islanders, but there could be someone sitting there, or even from ESPN, like Bob Wischusen. That's a big name, but I generally think that it should be Kenny, because he's obviously calls games for TNT. And then say who's going to back him up on TV. It'll probably be the former sideline reporter and studio host. We just do sideline sometimes, or ice level reporting, but he's been more in the studio. John Giannone, who obviously been with MSG for a really long time, so that could be like Kenny Albert's backup. But I think Kenny Albert is the runaway front runner to replace Sam Rosen. I'd be surprised if it's not Kenny Albert, honestly. Although Bob Wischusen would be a nice pick, but I prefer Kenny Albert only because Kenny Albert's Kenny Albert. But Bob Wischusen would be a good one, too, because he's the radio voice of the Jets, so he's already employed by ESPN New York. He used to call Knicks. So, there's a case for Bob Wischusen, but I prefer Kenny Albert over Bob Wischusen. But Bob Wischusen could replace Kenny Albert on radio, conceivably. But you never know. But yeah, congrats to Sam Rosen. I think that a lot of teams are going to honor him this season. The Rangers are going to honor him at the end of the year, probably. And you'll probably see even the Devils honor him, and potentially Doc Emrick be involved in some ceremony there. I mean, that would be pretty sick because obviously those two are in the same generation. And I think Doc Emrick personally retired too early. I think Doc still would have it today. Like, that's how great of an announcer Doc Emrick is. And obviously, he's another former MSG employee, too. Not that he would come out of retirement and replace Sam Rosen. That would be weird, but MSG is going to reach out to him for something to help honor the great Sam Rosen. Coming down now from Woj, the Jazz are signing Patty Mills 1 year, $3.3 million. So that's obviously someone that's going to be traded in February. So that's a nice little veteran there. A lot of NFL injuries. Giants rookie running back Tyrone Tracy had air cast on right leg after a non-contact injury. But apparently it's just a sprain. So that is good news for the Giants as he avoids a serious injury. Because the Giants have big plans for him since there's no Saquon Barkley in the fold. Cowboys left tackle Chuma Edoga to miss time. Is expected to be out into the regular season. Not good for Dallas. Not good. Hollywood Brown expected to miss week 1 due to shoulder injury. That's been speculated a lot. That's not good for the Chiefs. People might bet the Ravens in week 1. I feel like people are going to bet them and the Jets in week 1 to pull off upsets over the Super Bowl representatives from a year ago because of these injuries. The Lions coach, Dan Campbell, on Jahmyr Gibbs, he says, we're good. He is not concerned about the hamstring injury. But everybody says those types of things, and then all of a sudden they're out week 1. And Brian Daboll said the same thing about Malik Neighbors, and Andy Reid probably was saying that about Hollywood Brown, that he could be ready for week 1, now he's not. Camavinga's out 6-7 weeks with a knee injury. That's not good for Madrid. Breaking is not returning to the 2028 Olympics, as Reagan comments on the decision. Jerry Rice had a post about Brandon Ayuk, which is interesting. And by the way, it's coming down to staying with the Niners and the Steelers. Sharon Moore says that Jim Harbaugh will no longer be honorary captain as he won't make the opener. That stinks. Former NFL receiver Tavon Austin is retiring. He former West Virginia wide receiver, hanging it up after 9 NFL seasons. The Rays are calling up Junior Caminero. As we talked about yesterday, he's wearing number 2. Or I'm sorry, he's wearing number 13. He's MLB's number 2 prospect. I read that wrong. The NBA Cup schedule got released. Notable games, Clay against the Warriors on November 12th, which we talked about already, and LeBron versus Wembanyama on November 15th. Dodgers number 3 prospect, River Ryan, done for the year. That's a big loss for the Dodgers. He pitched really well for them when he pitched. Another big NFL injury, J.J. McCarthy out indefinitely, as he's expected to undergo knee surgery that will determine how long he'll be out. Not cool. Jalen Brunson got gifted the Man City jersey, which is pretty cool. An anonymous poll has the Jayhawks of Kansas, the best college basketball team, followed by Alabama. That's an anonymous coaches poll, it looks like. Reported by CBS Sports. The Patriots are lightly shopping Matt Judon as he likely plays for New England on a $6.5 million deal if no trade is made. Yordan Alvarez breaks the scoreboard at Tropicana Field. That's funny. Jazz Chisholm to have elbow MRI. He says, I think we're going to be good. And he has a UCL injury, surgeries to be determined. Not cool for the Yankees. Obviously, if he's done for the season, Brian Cashman's trade deadline goes from a C to probably a D-. I don't want to say an F because Mark Leiter had 2 bad games and De Los Santos had that awful game against the White Sox. But that trade deadline goes from to a near, or if not a failing grade if he's out for the season. And I know the injury's not Cashman's fault, but Jazz Chisholm had an injury history, and he's injury prone. So that's why I was against trading for Jazz Chisholm in the first place. Granted, he was so good for them before this injury. So maybe he avoids being out for the season, and maybe he gets the surgery after the season. And then the Yankees Old Timers Day will be celebrating the 15th anniversary of the 2009 championship team. So it's supposed to attend Derek Jeter, A-Rod, CC, AJ Burnett. All right, so I'm going to know 9 names. Phil Cook, Johnny Damon, Eric Hinsky, Tommaso Marte, Hideki Matsui, Andy Pettit, Jorge Posada, Mariano Rivera, A-Rod, CC, Nick Swisher. Oh my God, that's pretty cool. So I'm reading off the names of All-Timers Day for the Yankees. All the managers of my lifetime are going to be there. Joe Torre, Joe Girardi, and Aaron Boone. That's so cool. I'm actually pretty happy that the Yankees have Joe Girardi back in the fold in some capacity. I know people are speculating that could be the Boone replacement, ironically enough, if he's fired. But I really like Girardi in the S booth. I really do. He's actually really, really fun in there. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. Today's choices are not as enticing as the choices I had yesterday and the day prior. There's some I like, and there's some I don't like. But I am going to go with over 8.5 and A's Mets. I'm going to lay a 50th of a unit on it. I think that the Met offense will bounce back in a big way. I could see this being 6-3 Mets, 6-4 Mets. But yeah, this is based on I think the Mets could potentially do this by themselves. So I'm going to go over 8.5 and A's Mets at -105. So there you have it for the show, and I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything. We had everything tomorrow. We have running back rankings and a couple of special shows. Doug Saravo coming on, and then we'll do potentially La Liga preview and predictions. So I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.